Have you ever heard of a military carbon footprint? No, probably not. No single country includes military carbon in their reports, and they're not required to regulate or reduce their emissions. Military emissions as a whole are a major contributor to climate change, and militaries historically lack renewable resources in their operations and tend to focus on aggressive solutions that don't solve the problem. So how does this affect our view of the climate crisis? We're here today at the COP26 Coalition People Summit to find out.
Without the military, there would be not the climate change problems that we're dealing with. It is the military that holds safety for corporations. It doesn't make people safe. It makes corporations safe to extract, oppress, and destroy.
Well, I think we have to recognize that the military is one of the largest institutional emitters of carbon dioxide, so you cannot tackle climate change unless they're included. They also prop up the whole system of oil and fossil fuel extraction and the resource extraction that has created the climate crisis. So they're directly responsible and they're indirectly responsible because they are part of the whole system that has created this crisis. So we can't tackle it without tackling the military.
Well, they've been very effective at keeping it a secret and hiding it. And now kind of the cat's out of the bag, and that's happened in just a very few short years.
I was involved in the COP back in 2009, Copenhagen, where this was not discussed at all. 2015, some people started talking about it, but there was no popular movement. So the first thing is we need data. We need to know actually how much of the problem they are. And then we need to start to say, well, if you are committed to 1.5 degrees, what does that mean for the military? And what we find is that means actually a reduction of the size of the military. Because what we're seeing is not only are they contributing to the crisis, their constant expansion is creating the crisis, they are also diverting money.
And so I think right now what we're doing is trying to build a movement that won't let that silence be allowed anymore. And because when you're talking about everything that's happening under the tent of the blue zone, if you don't end war and militarism, it doesn't matter. And if you end war and militarism, you will end their polluting ways also. You will end their emissions also. So much of the destruction of the planet is held in place by the military. This very minute, they are destroying pristine ecosystems in all the islands around China that include affecting all these indigenous people. And we heard really horrible stories on the panel today about how militarism is killing people. And you know, how do we move this from a climate change conversation to a systems change conversation? Because if we could talk about the systems change conversation, climate change would be dealt with.
There is no nationalistic, militaristic solution to climate change. We know that. They're part of the problem. So we need to find a more collective, peaceful, collaborative way to work together and to move forward. I think we should care about the military because they're really at the heart of the system.
To stop a nuclear winter, which means the end of life on Earth, it is the existential threat. We must expose the military for what it's doing and stop war.
Well, I would have never expected that. Were you surprised?
I was, you know, I mean, it was something I'd never ever considered before to do with emissions, and there were so many people there who were so passionate about this issue. I mean, they were absolutely just shouting for it. I mean, they really, really care, and it's just so surprising to me that we've never really heard about it before.